Alright, so I won't make this a rant and condemn any devs because I'm not a clip farming TikToker, but this week's balance patch posted on Wednesday, everything actually looked pretty good until I read two things. Furioso got a 25% damage nerf, and White Dust got a 16% damage buff. I won't lie, I was actually pretty pressed, and there are several reasons as to why I think both of these changes were pretty odd to add in this update. But let's talk about the White Dust, right? As we can read, it got 10 extra damage and can now go through hyper armor moves. However, their attempt to make it more balanced is that they made it so you won't be ragdolled, and they reduced the stun from 1.7 seconds to 1.25 seconds. Now some might say, well, at least it's harder to make a true combo after doing the counter, right? So not only does the counter deal 14% to a 545 HP build, but you can also follow up with a Blades Arrow, or even any move that's medium range and fast to make it deal way more damage. All in all, the highest potential you can get is 27% damage. However, they nerfed Furioso because the dev responsible thought Ultra skills shouldn't deal a bar worth of damage. Well, now we got an Ultra that deals a bar and a half worth of damage. I'm not trying to shame or belittle the dev responsible, but I genuinely do want to ask, what exactly was the thought process in buffing an Ultra skill that you can't react to or reliably bait out? Alright, now let's go over to Furioso. It's definitely reactable since it has a long windup, can be dodged, parried, and even absolute defensed, right? Then we have the damage, where it went from 120 damage to 90 damage, right? Still seems crazy strong, right? Until you realize the move doesn't deal true damage. Taking a look at the screen, you can see on the left side is Furioso pre-nerf damage, meaning it's 120 damage state versus White Dust damage by itself after its buff. 120 damage versus 70 damage.
Something ain't right!
Obviously, the takeaway here is that the move in the past didn't actually deal 120 damage, and even after the nerf, the move still doesn't even do 90 damage as said on the patch notes. To get down to the numbers, if we say the average amount of defense people have is 40%, that makes Furioso deal 54 damage. Obviously, looking back at the patch notes, I think you can easily tell Furioso is supposed to deal 20 more damage than White Dust, which should be a good 16 to 17%, but obviously it doesn't appear to be the case. I think another thing about both of the Ultras that confuse me are the cooldowns. Why is Furioso 120 seconds long while a counter is 70 seconds long? You can easily pull off two counters if the fight goes on long enough, especially in ganks where you can pop mode for your entire health back. But Furioso, despite being impossible to follow up with another move unlike the counter, and deals less damage than the counter by itself, has a cooldown of 2 whole minutes. Honestly, I don't know why they're doing this to Furioso. I mean, I also try to explain to people that Raging Demon can be used to escape combos because it has a frame 1 iframe startup. So not only does it deal a bar worth of damage, but it's also true in the Spine Rend and Tor Reach. But this patch also made it even easier to catch people with Raging Demon since the speed was buffed. In a larger view, we have two Ultra skills that can deal nearly a bar and whatever else they can combo into. However, Furioso is down dealing 10% with no way to combo extend afterwards. I was gonna say this is Serum W levels of damage, but not only is Serum W far easier to land than Furioso, but it also got a damage buff this update as well, so now it deals more and is easier to land than Furioso. Obviously, the best change in mind for everyone will be to make Furioso deal true damage. This would effectively make it deal 16%, and that's it. No other moves can chain after it, and the 2-minute cooldown will also be justified. As for White Dust, obviously the cooldown and the damage is going to need a nerf, since the counter is incredibly easy to land. I also think counters in general should just not make moves true after it, so after a counter like Theater, it shouldn't really be true into a bisection into a Rising Swallow. I also wanted to talk about the unstable bond, aka Double Furioso. Please add it back. As I said it before in the past, Double Furioso is insanely hard to pull off and was only really possible in casual matches. I will definitely say, if they're willing to hear me out, to nerf the overall damage of being hit with two Furiosos, so it doesn't deal 32% damage. Make it deal a combined damage of 24%, which I feel is a pretty fair number for going out of the way to initiate a super cool cutscene. That's all I really wanted to talk about. Hopefully they make some changes in the future and make Furioso great again. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.